Hey guys, what's up? It's Moderns Tech here. Today I'll be rebuilding my VPN server. So a lot of you guys have been asking me how to build a VPN server and set one up. So I'm actually going to be showing you guys here today. So this I built this VPN server in last summer, like last August or so, and it runs 24/7. It's also a storage server, so it's been running with this hard drive here, this 1 terabyte Seagate drive. Since then, that's when I built it. That's when I bought all these parts. It's been running that as a network attached. That's been running as a network drive, so that I can access from my other computers. And then the main drive has been this 2006 80 gigabyte Western Digital WD800JD WD Caviar that was manufactured on September 2nd, 2006. So really old drive. It still works really well. This computer was stayed relatively, like, it wasn't that dusty. Like, there's not very much. There's some dust you can see. I don't know, but it didn't get that dusty after being used for like a year. But this hard drive has, like, because it was built then, it has 280 days of power on time. So it's been on for 280 days, not straight. Like, it's been restarted and shit. But that's all the time that it's been on added together. So anyways, what you're gonna do for what I did for this build here is this build costs about $300 or so. This hard drive here is one that I bought about 2 weeks ago. It's a Seagate desktop hard drive. It's 3 terabytes, so it's 3,000 gigabytes. Just another network storage drive, so I can back up my main computer and shit to it, because the 1 terabyte drive was not big enough. And I don't have a use for the 1 terabyte drive anymore, but what I want to do is, instead of using this old ass fucking drive, the 80 gig, I want to put in the 1 terabyte as that drive. And yeah, so you don't necessarily have to buy a new computer though, which is why, I don't know if you guys could see this one here, this computer off to the side, with the Bitcoin stamps all over it. This is a Core 2 Duo machine here, with 4 gigabytes of DDR2, and a 250 gigabyte hard drive. Here, let me just show you guys it. It's an old eMachines computer. It came with an Athlon, but that's just the case. I use it to mine Bitcoin now. It's got a 5970 in it. I don't know, I haven't used it for a while, but that's why it's covered in Bitcoin emblems. So the processor I chose for this build was the AMD Athlon 5150 here, socket AM1, I think. I believe so. Yeah, AM1 platform. Chose this because it was $50, I think, at the time. And I chose for the board, I chose the Asus AM1IA. AM1IA, yeah. Because it's small, because it's fucking ITX. So the case also is a Thermaltake Core V51, which is $60. This is all in Canadian dollars, so it's cheaper in USD. Power supply I took from a really old computer that I had, so that was free, but it would have been like $30 otherwise, because I just would have bought like a 200, like just the lowest wattage that I could. That would fit this form factor. Also, I spray painted the power supply to be black, like the case. Same with the I/O shield. Of course, something that you'll really need for a VPN server is going to be a gigabit card. So you'll have one on board, you'll have a gigabit connection on board, but you'll need to be able to share that to a console or router or whatever you want to have a VPN connection on. So you can buy one of these. This was 10 Canadian or something like that, and it works great. This is also, I spray painted the plate, so it just looks better. Case comes with a 200 millimeter fan, so yeah, it has good, and it has an air filter as well, so you can see it's covered in fucking dust. The inside of this case is pretty dusty. Alright, I just put my phone in Do Not Disturb. That scared the fuck out of me. I was like, what the fuck is that noise? Because it sounded really weird. It didn't sound like a regular vibrate. So, anyways, the power supply is pretty easy to put in. You can figure that out on your own. I didn't want to take apart the whole thing. But yeah, the case is pretty, it's got a good layer of dust in it, even though it has filters, like dust filters all over it. So get a case that has dust filters if you can, because if this computer is going to be in 24/7 operation, then you'll want to do that. Now, the reason why I built a brand new computer instead of just using an old shitty computer like that one there, is because the old shitty computer runs really loud. Like, it's just fucking annoying. So you want something that's going to be low power and quiet, like an ITX form factor build. So actually here, this is the motherboard with the CPU is already installed, so it's pretty easy to install a CPU. Let me just take out the RAM. I did have 4 gigs of G.Skill Ripjaws, but my friend needed to borrow the other 2 gigabytes for something, and he still needs it, so I said he can just have it, I don't care. So now I'm stuck with one 2 gigabyte stick, and I have a 4 gigabyte stick here that a buddy gave me, so I've just been running 6 gigs of Micron and G.Skill. And then I also found in my spare parts bin an 8 gigabyte stick, and this actually works too. So I mean, I could put in 12 gigs, but it's a VPN server. You're fine literally with 2 gigabytes, because that's what I had in it for like months. So anyways, yeah, the heatsink, it's got a bit of dust in it, not too much, like it's not too bad. The motherboard is extremely small, obviously. For size comparison, here's a regular 3.5-inch drive compared to it, so it's like the size of it. So it's just ridiculously small, the ITX platform. You have PS2 keyboard, PS2 mouse, DVI, VGA, serial, HDMI. I don't know why it has serial, HDMI, 4 USB 2, 2 USB 3, gigabit Ethernet, and then audio. One downside, like this is what I wish this thing had, I wish it had 4 SATA ports at least, because it only has 2, otherwise I'd just keep the 80 gig, because I'd rather not fucking get rid of the 80 gig. I'm not going to throw it out, I'll probably use it for something else, like another server or something, but yeah, so I don't know actually how to take out this heatsink once it's been put in. Actually, I think I do. I think I just figured it out. There's actually quite a bit of dust packed in there, but okay, well, I got a lot of the dust out there. But anyways, so you'll pretty much have to use the thing that comes with it. But there's a socket FS1B. I guess that's what it's technically called, I don't know. But there you go. So the CPU is actually really tiny. Like, it's about the size of like a i7 6700K or a 4790, or just the Haswell series, or just the recent i7s that's not like a fucking, the 1366 socket. So those things are fucking huge. So the CPU can be easily installed just by pushing down the pins, the little pins on the top here of the heatsink. So if you line it up with the hole on the board, that's a pretty hard to miss, like, and then just push it, and it should just, might require a bit of force. What the fuck? It shouldn't require this much force. What's going on here? Oh, I didn't push the pin down all the way when I was taking it off. There we go. Alright, so it shouldn't require that much force. So just line it up, push it down, and then push this in. Okay. So I was doing it wrong, but there we go. It's installed again. Take the wire for it. You can wrap it around the fan or something if you want to have like less wires. That's what I want to do, but I don't think I can do that very well here, because I don't think it's quite long enough to wrap it like fully around the fan. Yeah, no. So I'll just go like this and just tuck it in there. That's easy enough. And just plug it in like that. And your CPU is installed. The CPU is fucking easy to install, so I'm not even going to show that. Then next step is the RAM. This is pretty easy as well. So with the RAM, it's pretty easy. You just line up the notch on the module to where it is, or to the notch on the slot. Push it down. Click, click. This side, you don't have to pull the tabs down. It's just one side. And I'll take the other stick. So we're gonna just have 6 gigs in this machine, like it's as though it's an X58 board in 2009. And there we go. So, there you are. It's in. The hard drives are pretty easy to mount, but I'll show you how to anyways, because I need to take this drive out. Keep in mind, I'll have to reinstall Windows 7, so I will be showing you guys how to set up the whole server, so, because that's what you guys want. I mean, apparently, right? So like that. So you get 2 long screws and 2 short ones. It's pretty straightforward. Doesn't matter which side you put them on. As long as the 2 long ones are on one side and the 2 short ones are on the opposite side, it's fine. There we go, the drive slides out. That old drive is fucking huge. And then you want the ports see like where this like little thing is here, you want them to be facing up, so the SATA ports, otherwise you'll have to take out the drive and reinstall it. So put in the short side of screws first because it's easier. There we go. To get that side in, it's pretty... Once you get 2 screws in, it's always easy with everything when it comes to PC building, pretty much. Like 2 screws in the motherboard, 2 screws on power supply, it's easy from there, because then it can't wobble or anything usually. If I could line this up. Come on. But yeah, it's best to do this with a computer that is quiet. So that's why I chose to build a new computer rather than reuse an old one. Because when I first built a VPN server, I was using just an old computer that I had, and it was super annoying, super noisy. Fans ran really fast, and it was just annoying. It was in an old case too, so took up a lot of space. But yeah, so there we go. Hard drive is installed. We got, this is the 1 terabyte, so 1,000 gigabytes. Then we got the 3 terabyte right here, which just says 3 terabytes on it. They're the same series of drive. So ST1000 DMO3, and this is ST3000 DMO1. So they're the same series, both Seagate. Doesn't matter what brand. I hate when people are like, oh, what brand is better? None of the fucking brands really matter when it comes to this, as long as it's known. Alright, so our next step here. Your next step is to install the power supply, but since I've already done that, it's pretty easy. Next step, you take the I/O shield that came with the motherboard, and you make sure the side with the audio is on the far side, I guess. Like, don't install it upside down is the thing. Like, and then you just push it, you line it up with the slot, then you'll just go ahead and just push it in. It should push it. Oh, I didn't line it up properly. There we go. You'll know when it's done. Like, it'll make little clicks like that. So there we go. It's installed. Next step, now that we've installed the CPU and RAM and the cooler, so we're just going to install the motherboard. And keep in mind it requires 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure that your case has the standoffs in the place. If they're in the wrong place, it could short out your motherboard. You could probably RMA it to the manufacturer and claim that it was a DOA, but I don't know. I've never done that. But this motherboard this case has you can't remove them. There's standoffs that are just there and you can't do anything about it. They're just there. So once you line it up, make sure the screw holes are lined up properly. Then take your screwdriver. So once the motherboard is in this place, you'll push it, set the screw holes line up with the standoff on the case. And if you just put in one here, there, now you won't have to push it anymore, at least on that side. Then on the other side, you still will have to push it, just not very hard, just a tiny bit. There we go. And there. So 2 back screws in, then we just have 2 more. The ones at the front. The only thing I wanted to clean off in this, doing this, was the cooler, because when I in the first 6 months of building this computer, it idled at 8 degrees Celsius, which is fucking ridiculous. And now it idles at 20, so that's why I cleaned out the heatsink. I didn't clean it out properly, I just blew through it, but whatever. There wasn't that much dust in it, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now that your motherboard's installed, you're going to take your 20 plus 4 pin power supply header for the motherboard here, and you're just going to push that right here. Make sure it lines up with the tab there until you hear a click. Well, actually, you don't even hear a click, but you see it. Then you're going to take your 4-pin CPU power. Goes right here. Push that in, you'll hear a click there, I guess. Take your gigabit card. Just gonna put it right here. Put it like that. So this is a PCI Express X4 slot. Oops, it's not in right. PCI Express X4 slot, so it is a bit longer because this is an X1 card. So it is a bit longer, but that's okay. It fits in, it works fine. Then you're going to just screw that down at the end here. There we go. So that's installed. We're going to take this little thing. Even this has dust on it, jeez. We're just going to take this little thing and just pop it on like that. There you go. Okay, so now we're going to install our drives because it's just easy. So I'm just going to flip this around for you guys to see. I'm going to take the 1 terabyte hard drive and just plant it. Keep in mind, this drive is formatted. I formatted this drive, but it's pretty easy to do it if it's not formatted too. I'll show you how to do that too. I'm going to take the thumb screws because that's where it was originally mounting it. There's just 1 screw to install this thing. It's awesome. Very easy. Good job, Thermaltake. Oh, the hard drive, the 1 terabyte hard drive was $60 Canadian, and the 3 terabyte was $125 Canadian. So, just in case you guys are curious. So now we're gonna take the third one, or the second hard drive, line it up with the slot, take the thumb screw, put it in again, tighten it up. There, our hard drives are mounted. They're not very sturdy. This hard drive mount thing is bent. That's why it wiggles. This one's not as bent. Well, I don't think that one's bent at all. So, there we go. Our next step is to, let's see here. So we got our front panel fan right here, which will be a 200 millimeter fan out of the box, but I broke mine, so I just put in a 120. Alright, so there you go. It's fucking G. Now, you'll need your front panel headers so that you know when the case, or when it, so that you can turn it on and shit with the power button on the front. Alright, so now we want to plug in our front panel headers. On the motherboard, it should say, somewhere here, where to plug them in. It actually doesn't, so take a look at your manual. I know where they go, though, so it's fine, because I've been building computers for way too long. So power header, front panel. You don't really need anything else like hard drive light, but I like a power light, so I'm just going to plug those in too. There we go. So, there we go. And the hard drive light, or the reset switch goes way on the end. Actually, let's plug in the hard drive one first. It's easier. So you'll need patience for this, obviously. But just consult your manual. It'll tell you. So hard drive light. On the very last ones, it is power switch, or reset switch. So reset switch is just the little switch right here, where if you want the computer to instantly restart if it freezes, just, there you go. And the power LED, hard drive. Motherboard does not have a USB front panel header, so don't worry, you don't need to connect that. HD audio, you don't need to connect to this unless you plan on actually using this computer for something, but I don't, so I don't need to connect that. There we go. So next we're going to take our SATA cables here and plug our hard drives in. So I like to use 2 different colored SATA cables. If you don't have them, then you can't. But your motherboard should come with 2 ASUS SATA cables, or whatever company your motherboard is. Hopefully ASUS or MSI or Gigabyte or something reputable, ASRock, some shit that's pretty decent. Okay, and I want to do a bit of cable management. I don't want this thing to look like trash, so I'm just going to route this underneath here. There's a shit ton of cables underneath here. Pull it back up like this. So I use the blue one for the boot hard drive. I'll just pull that a bit more. SATA 1. So I'll plug it into SATA port number 1. Doesn't really matter. It's just easier for you to know boot drive is SATA port 1. So it's just easier. It's actually not even staying plugged in all the way. Give it a bit more cable. Okay, well, because it's not very long, I'm just gonna plug it into the second one so that there's not as much pull on the port. I don't like how that's doing that. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to take the second connector, and it is right angle, so make sure you just plug in the regular angled one just first. There you go. Can do a bit of cable management again here. Just pulling it off the table just so I can reach it easier. Pull it back up. Okay, there we go. And now, if I just spin it around, it's the right angle, so you just plug it in just like that. There you go. So now your hard drives have data, but they need power, obviously, to spin. So we're going to take a header from the power supply here. Oh, this is pretty janky. Why does this have to be like this? Look at this shit. It's Molex. It's SATA power, Molex, SATA power, Molex. Fuck that. Is there one that's just SATA power on this thing? Fuck's sake, there's not. God damn it. The good thing the hard drives are spaced out, actually. That actually works pretty well, but it's just annoying because there's fucking Molex connectors everywhere now in the case, and it will look shitty. I can fix that. Actually, it doesn't look that shitty. I can just pull them down. See, but I don't want to put too much stress on all the fucking cables in this thing, because the cables are already stressed enough. Actually, no, they're plugged in properly. It's not even pulling at the motherboard anymore. That's perfect. Okay. Feel like I'm missing something, but I feel like I'm not. Because hard drives are plugged in. Everything's plugged in. It should be good. We should be good to go, yeah. I don't see anything that's not. So, now, we're going to take our side panels and put them on. It's fairly easy. Look how much thicker that fucking 3 terabyte hard drive is than the 1 terabyte. That's ridiculous. So we're going to take this window. No, I don't want that window. I want a window that I can see the labels of the drives. So you can put the windows on anywhere. I could put the window on here, but that would look so dumb. So I'm going to take just this one. But yeah, this is the one I used before, so it's right at the hard drive so that I can just see them easily. But yeah, there you go. You take the thumb screws, screw them in. This computer has taken me, like, for me to build this computer from scratch, if I wasn't showing you guys and stuff, it would take me probably 30 minutes or so. But because I'm showing you guys, it's taken me about 45. So we're going to put the window part on the top of the case here too. So we want the window to be on the top. You can put the window wherever you feel like. There you go. Put in the other side panel right here. Yeah. So yeah, the RAM cost me, well, I got all the RAM for free because I already had it. But I did buy RAM originally for this computer. I don't know where it is. It was a Corsair 4 GB or something like that. Corsair? Doesn't sound right. I don't remember the brand though. I don't remember it. It was something. Corsair. It could be. No. I don't know. Corsair Vengeance. It has to be right. I don't fucking know. I don't remember, okay? It was a 4 GB stick and it was like 30 bucks. So this bottom piece, just like my case, because I have a Core V51, has a dust filter. There's literally nothing on it. This power supply doesn't even pull in air from here. I'm sure it does, but just not very much, I guess. But it has a dust filter for your power supply. Put that on. It has 4 feet, but I lost one of them, so it's just fucking pointless. I took them all off. And I just put it on top of like a piece of wood that is exactly the size of it. So it doesn't look trashy at all. Yeah, there we go. So, our VPN server is built. There we go. We got it. We got it, boys. It's fucking built. Let's go. Let's go set it up, actually. That's where we're going to go. So at this point, the computer was posting. Went into the BIOS, booted off my bootable USB stick with Windows 7 installed. Basically, I just torrented Windows 7. Made the USB drive bootable, which I'll put a link in the description on how to do that. It's pretty easy. You just have to be patient. Also, for when you're if you don't have a bootable USB drive, just make sure you have one that's 8 GB. That's all that matters, is that it's at least 8 gigs. And yeah, so personally, I have 3 8 GB USB drives that are all bootable. One with Windows 7, one with Windows 10, and the other I think has Windows 8.1 for some reason. I think I had to restore somebody's computer or something, and I had Windows 8.1 on it. And I also disconnected the 3 terabyte hard drive during this, just so that I don't accidentally format it or anything. And I don't want the boot manager, because occasionally, if you have 2 drives installed while you're installing Windows will for some reason put the boot manager on one drive and put the rest of everything on the drive that you designate to install Windows on. I don't know why Windows does this, but basically when this happens, you can't boot the system without that other drive. So, yeah. And basically what I did here to record this is, actually, this was really cool. So I plugged in the VPN server into a monitor, because you need to plug it into a monitor with a keyboard and mouse to be able to install Windows, obviously. And I used the HDMI to plug it into Windows. Oh, here's just, you have to boot off the hard drive this time. Go into the BIOS and tell it to boot off the hard drive, not off the USB. You still need the USB plugged in, but I'm just saying that. But I plugged the the VPN server into HDMI, plugged it into my HDMI splitter so I could use it on my monitor, because I use an HDMI splitter to get rid of HDCP so that I can record PS3 over HDMI. It's also easier than plugging everything, going under my desk and plugging everything in directly into the capture card. It's easier just to, because it's just behind my monitor, so yeah. So I just plugged it in, and then I was like, oh shit, I can probably just record all of this with my capture card. So that's exactly what I did. I had to actually install Windows 7 twice, because the first time I installed it, see how it says finalizing your settings? It was stuck on that. Like, I let it sit there for like an hour, and it was stuck on that. Big pain in the ass. I don't know why. Also, another thing that I don't know why happened is, you'll see here, the computer had to reboot here, started Windows. So I'm just sitting here. I'm like, okay, let's get ready to install all of our programs and drivers and such. And oh, you have to put a password as well. I think I explained that already, and there's no drivers. I had an Ethernet cable plugged in. There's no drivers for Ethernet, so I was like, shit. And as you can see there in Device Manager, there's 2 Ethernet controllers that are both don't have drivers installed. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, shit. How am I gonna? I don't have drivers for my PCI Express gigabit card. Like, I don't even, like, it came with a driver CD, but I fucking threw it out because Windows installs it by default. Anyways, once I installed the driver for the motherboard PC or the motherboard gigabit port, it installed. And as you can see in the Device Manager, they're both the same company that created them, or that made them. Like, they're both Realtek, so I guess it installed both. With the last VPN server, I didn't install the drivers for the chipset. You don't really need to, but I don't know. It's probably best to. Like, for example, like my USB 3 ports wouldn't work unless you install this. As you can see there, there's a problem with the Universal Serial Bus controller and an SM bus controller, which I'm not too sure what an SM bus is, but I don't know what it is. But anyways, at this point, you can also plug back in your hard drive, your 3 terabyte or whatever hard drive, the other hard drive that you unplugged while you were installing Windows. You can plug that back in. So there, as you can see, the drivers had installed for USB 3.0 Root Hub by AMD. Alright, so now that this is done installing all its drivers, you can reboot the computer. For some reason, after I installed the drivers here, you'll notice that there are black bars on the screen. I'm using the same resolution, same HDMI port. I just don't know why this happened. I don't know why Internet Explorer felt like opening there either. But at this point, I went into Control Panel, enabled remote connection to the computer, and then you're done. You're ready to go. Alright guys, so now that everything is installed and remote desktop is enabled, I didn't even need to change anything in remote desktop to be able to connect to it, because the computer was named the same thing and had the same password. So there we go, connect, and it should log this computer off. Yeah, it does not like when this happens. And ever like right as I installed the fucking video drivers, it's like now there's like black bars on the side. I don't know why. Like, it didn't happen when I didn't have it enabled, but it did. What the fuck happened to here? What's going on here? Yo, what just happened? It just made my background fucking black. Picture. Really? Windows, you really gonna do that, huh? What the fuck is going on here? Okay, whatever, forget it. So now that we've done that, all the drivers are installed. Yeah, so with the VPN, with the last install of the VPN server on the 80 gig, I didn't install any drivers, so this VPN server is lucky, if anything. Come on. There we go. Alright, so yeah, so there's nothing on the hard drive, but from here, well, now I need to install IPVanish and plug in. I need to plug in the 3 terabyte hard drive essentially, so let's go ahead and just hit the power button on the VPN server. Alright, well, I set a temporary background for now. I don't really like it, but I don't know what the fuck happened to my regular one, so whatever. Let's plug in the 3 terabyte now. Just take the little SATA connector, just hook it on there, like so. There we are. And we can also just, at this point in time, just disconnect that, disconnect that, disconnect that, disconnect that, connect that one, throw this on. I can't believe none of the drivers were installed. That's so weird. There we go. Now that the other hard drive is plugged in, we can go ahead and just power it on. It's so quiet. The noise that you might hear could be from my computer, but my computer's pretty quiet too. So, there we go. Now we're just gonna set it up again. Now we're gonna install the drivers and install everything that we need. Alright guys, now that we've given it enough time to start up, we're just gonna go ahead and connect to it again. Hopefully, if I've given it, I hope I've given it enough time. Oh, hold on, it opened on another monitor here. There we go. We got a loading thing with it, but it's pretty easy to use. It seems faster, so like, I'm sorry, my computer is like I was listening to music on my speakers with my computer, and you hear the remote desktop sound, so. Yeah, but this is much easier than using a keyboard and mouse to this computer. So there we go, the 3 terabyte drive is showing up too. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys how to do... Oh, is this fucking version of Windows activated? Let me see. I doubt it. 3 days until automatic activation. So, what we're going to do is we're going to activate Windows with this Antiq 7 loader that I've been using to fucking activate, like, Pirate Bay versions of Windows since 2009. So, this'll do its, like, this is doing its thing right now. I don't have to worry about this. The VPN server is shaking, like, I have my foot on it. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's the hard drive, I guess, reading. So, there we go. And I'll give it probably about 2 minutes or so. Alright, it should have been long enough by now, so, let's see. Initiating, if it says configuring, yep, it just did. We're G. It's been on long enough. So there we go. Because the other VPN server was saying like, oh, it was bugging me every time I turned it on. Windows is not activated, and I had the thing installed. But if you install updates, sometimes it fucks it up. I don't think this will make a difference, but I can't stand Windows Basic. It's fucking annoying. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It makes a difference if I'm not using remote desktop, but remote desktop disables Arrow. So let's go here, and what we'll do is we'll click share with advanced settings, share this folder, 1 TB. Yeah, I thought so. You didn't need to interrupt me, but I thought that would happen. Yo. Okay. What's going on here, yo? Yo, what the okay. Alright, there we go. I don't know what happened there, but it made me really fucking mad really fucking fast. Okay, so we shared that drive. We're obviously going to do the same with this drive. 3 TB. No, whoops. I need to make it full control for everybody. Because it doesn't matter. There's nobody else on my network. This should be good. Like, now I should be able to. Yep, there we go. So, we're good. Like, there's nothing else we need to do in terms of the mounting the drives. Because if I just take this, I can just disconnect this drive. It doesn't matter now. But I can map network drive. Can make it drive X if I want. Go and find it. Put it as, I like the 3 terabyte one to be drive X. And there we go. It's mounted. Map another network drive, drive Z, sure. And the 1 terabyte. There. So, now we have 2 drives. Fuck's sake. Can I hide these files? Because that's fucking annoying. Oh, I made the B lowercase, like a terabit. Okay, well, let's go to this PC and disconnect that 1 terabyte drive and then map it again. And then this time go and put the folder there. That should be good. Yep, there we go. So there. Now it's acting as though it's a blank drive. So that's a lot better. That's because that shit was pissing me off, the Windows folder there. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can go into our setup files folder and go ahead. We need to download, I want to install Specky, and This is a fucking, I think this is an ancient version of Specky. Yeah, Google Chrome with this? Yes. Awesome. Then I don't even have to use Internet Explorer at all, not even a download Chrome. So that's obviously good. It saves us a bit of time. I don't need an antivirus, but I will put on Security Essentials anyways. Like, it's stupid. It's just a fucking... It needs it, I guess. I suppose, right? Fuck, I don't know what It said automatic something, and I don't want it to do that, but I don't know what it said, so whatever. And obviously, the most important, IP Vanish. Okay, so IP Vanish is good. I'm not going to launch it because it's going to show my IP. Well, it doesn't really fucking matter. This isn't a stream. I can fix that. It didn't make a difference. I mean, this is doing something, but I don't think that matters. Okay, so NetConnect Choose is a good program because it shows you how much like bandwidth is going through the connection. Well, why would you care? Because then you know how much how fast things are downloading through the VPN. It's really cool. Well, it's pretty cool. I think it's cool. So we're also going to go into here and change adapter settings and change this one to VPN out so that it's easier. Then I like to name these Giganet because like gigabit and then it's internet, like because it's the main connection. So it'll prompt you for this. You don't need this. So yeah, you don't need to get that. But what you do is you make sure it's on PPTP. Then whichever server for you is the lowest ping, you'll want to use that, obviously. Or whichever one is the lowest ping and also still like pretty fast, you'll want to use that. So for me, that's the Seattle O2 server. That's my favorite. I get like about 80 megabits per second download on it. And I also get like 30 ping. So it's really fucking good for me. I really like it. But anyways, so... Oh, sign in. Obviously, you have to buy your VPN. So, I mean, fucking buy it. It's not a big deal. It's like $10. Obviously, you have to find a VPN service to use. I like IP Vanish, so I just buy the 1-year subscription every year. It works great. It's awesome. So once you're connected, you'll want to select home network. Also, that's going to be pretty annoying because with IP Vanish, it detects it as a new network every time you connect. So you're going to have to reshare the connection every time you connect. So I just tell it to treat all networks as public, and then you can just change it in here. But once you've connected, you click IP Vanish VPN properties, sharing, allow other things to connect, VPN out. Okay. Okay. There we go. Now I'm gonna disconnect. Now, alright, now for the ultimate test, let's see if it's worked. I could test it on PS4 or Xbox One too, but I like 360 the most. Because 360 gives you like latency, upload, download. I think PS4 only gives you upload, download. And it doesn't even work if you're on a VPN. It doesn't even tell you. And then Xbox One does the same thing, but 360 is just faster. It's just a faster console to work. Like, look at that shit. You guys see me work that shit. So, obviously, I'm connected. The 360 is one of these numbers here, because the VPN, it comes out of the VPN server and goes into this thing from the VIP thing, into this gigabit. This is a gigabit switch. And then one of these connections is the 360. I think it's 3 or 4. It doesn't really matter. So if we go to network settings, wired network, it's obviously worked, right? But just show you anyways. Connected, it should say. Yeah, but let's see here. The 360 uses the yellow, dark yellow Ethernet cable because there's bright yellow ones. Yep, so the 360 is number 2 then. Which makes sense because the 360 is the one that's flashing. The only one that's flashing. So, yeah, it's testing the internet now. Connected, latency 33 ms. I don't get 80 on 360, keep in mind. I get 80 like on speedtest.net on my computer. Or like on like a device that's connected to the VPN server. That uses gigabit, because you can tell this is not using gigabit because the light is yellow. Gigabit is green. Upload is really shit. Download is fucking garbage. What is this? I'm not gonna worry about it. Whatever. But if we look here, so I live in a city in Alberta, which is Canada, obviously. But if we look here, go on to Black Ops 2 here. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm not signed in, so it's gonna. Fuck. Okay, let's dashboard. Cause I'm gonna have to go to the main menu and all that shit. So let's sign in. Oops, let's appear offline first, cause people are gonna be bothering me. There we go. I don't give a fuck about gamer score. I just play like multiplayer COD games competitively sometimes. But I play like multiplayer COD games all the time, just not competitively all the time. I love how I can have 15 fucking games on my 360 and still have like 120 gigs left out of a 250 gig 360. Keep in mind that's with season passes and all DLC for Black Ops 2. I don't have Black Ops 3 on 360. Why would you get it for last gen? That's all DLC for Black Ops 2. GTA 5, a lot of DLC for that here. It says Winter Park, Florida, but it's actually Seattle. I don't know why this game picks it up as Winter Park, Florida. But it isn't Winter Park, Florida. It is Seattle. But anyways, point being, I don't live in the States. I live in Canada, so obviously worked. That's how you set up a VPN server, boys. That's how you do it. It's done. It's easy. I even set up the storage portion of it, and it seems to be running relatively well, and it's easy just to connect to it like this. By the way I have my computer set up is if you go to network, I have a bunch of different network adapters. I have 3. I have this one for my main connection. I actually have 2 modems. So I have a modem here that has the Wi-Fi and everything disabled. Then I have a modem right here behind this monitor. There's my Wi-Fi modem my Wi-Fi router is here. But then I have a modem here which nothing is plugged into this modem except for the Wi-Fi router. Then my computer that's the remote desktop connection. Okay, and then this is pull IPs if people are threatening me. So that plugs into this. So that's why one of the lights is yellow. So if I turn this on, one of them will turn off and turn into green light because it's a gigabit thing. So yeah, there you go. But I only do that if people are threatening me, but I don't do it otherwise. Don't worry. And then yeah, so this is a separate. I have two internet lines. It's fucking pimpy. So that when I stream, my latency doesn't go up at all. Isn't affected, or I can upload and stream and play it and shit at the same time, so it's awesome. Anyways, that's how to set up a VPN server and build one. Oh shit, I did fix it! Yes, boys, let's go! I'm sorry I had to get so excited right there. I was just excited because it's been running at like 20 plus degrees Celsius on idle, so it's nice to see that it's running a lot cooler. That's how hyped I am for a fucking computer running nicely. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this fucking video. Holy shit, this is gonna take me like fucking show Facebook shit! This video is gonna take me a little time to edit, but yeah, I hope you guys will. Hope it was worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later.